Yo guys, what's going on? Tom for 2 here. Again, back again. Gate 3 Vykas hard mode is my commentary on how I play as a support. I think in the past videos, I've gone over a little bit of the I guess more of a official guide of kind of the different mechanics and the things that I'm looking for, the different attack patterns. This one, I didn't really have too many notes. It was mostly just the HP bars at which are good to note. Um, I'll kind of explain what I'm thinking while kind of the mechanics are happening, and they kind of happen fast. So as we are kind of giga chatting and DPSing through this pretty fast. So one thing to do, I do want to note, before you start out playing Gate 3, determine first that Party 1 is going to be focused on the left hand side of the map, and Party 2 is going to be focused on the right hand side of the map. And this is only you only start moving towards those positions during the 50 bars tentacles mechanic. And when we get to the 50 bars tentacles mech, I'll explain. You'll see why exactly. But just keep that in mind. Not You don't need to be in those positions right now, but around 50 bars, you're gonna want to be in those positions. Second thing to note, there's these gold orbs. These are cleansing orbs. In hard mode, you only get three at the 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 3 o'clock position. Determine which order you're going to hit those cleansing orbs. For our party, we already know 12 o'clock for typing mechanic, 3 o'clock for stagger mechanic, and then when it's 10 bars of HP, we go to the last one, which is at 9 o'clock. So that's how we do it. Your parties can probably do something different, but that's just how we do it. So those are just two things to note off right before we dive right in. So as I'm diving in, first thing, attack pattern, we have some damage, safe, damage zones. Just honestly, just stand to our sides. It's the safest thing you could do. Um, Here, we're just DPSing it down. This is the inside mech, as we call it. Essentially, she's going to do some sort of cartwheel move. The sides of her are going to be not safe, so everyone just needs to kind of group in this middle column in order to avoid the damage. And as you take damage, your lust meter may fill up a little bit. So just keep that in mind. You want to generally keep your lust meter a little bit lower. You do more damage though, if your lust meter is higher. But there are certain points where you do want a higher lust meter, and I will get into that in a bit. So here, people have lust pools, and so they're moving to the outside, avoiding the 3 o'clock position. So they just move their lust pools out. Here is the swamp mechanic. So we have two people with swamps. We'll make sure to line up properly so that we're covering the zones. Once the swiftness orbs are put down, everyone is grouping as far as they can back, and then we're just going to be slowed by the peanut butter. So that's the first mechanic. Second mechanic is the swords mech, so around 155. So here we have at least one person with a 70% less meter, and you can tell because it's beating red like this or pink. So around 155 HPs. She's gonna dash up. Now, people who do not have the 70% lust meter, so like me, I see just a bunch of Vykases. Okay, the person with 70 lust percentage is going to see swords instead, and they're just going to ping where the swords are. So in this case, they're pinging where the swords are. They pinged at the 1 o'clock position, so we know that the sword is at the same spot as one of the Vykas stalls, and if you determine that, everyone just got to run to that one, and that is the safe zone. So here, I haven't had to do a whole lot. I didn't even awakening because we're just bursting through these mechanics really fast. For shielding, usually I use shielding off cooldown, but there's a little bit of a delay here, so I will start using my shielding abilities and damage reduction abilities as soon as she kind of comes down to spawn. The next big mechanic to worry about next is the typing mechanic, and that happens at 135 bars, so we going through it real fast. She does this other side kind of mechanic where she'll go up in the air, hit one side, and then go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Here at 135 bars, we're pretty much all running up, and we determined that we're going to go to the 12 o'clock cleansing orb first. So the reason why you want to cleanse before the typing mechanic, you don't have, it doesn't matter which one you go to, but we're all cleansing right beforehand is because if you have any lust meter filled below 70%, above 70%, you want it to hit 0. Reason why is during typing mechanic, you get, I think, 4 seconds to clear the typing mechanic part. And if you have any some sort of lust meter, you will only have like 2 seconds to clear it. So here, we're just gonna watch the typing mechanic. So here, pretty easy. Again, no lust meter, so you get a full 4 seconds to clear it. It happens twice, so beware of that. Looks like we passed. Now, here's the thing. If you do pass, you will not have to face like an aerial strike. But if everyone in your party passed, all 8 members pass the type mechanic, you'll get this Vykas failed spirit absorption. You'll be able to run up to her, use Nineveh, use your side reel for extra damage, and just start DPSing her right away. If there are people who failed, you will all have to group up in the top corner here where you guys cleansed. And she's going to do a really big knockback. You don't want a space bar as soon as you get knocked back. Reason why is because she's going to do an aerial strike where it's either you stay in it or it's you gotta go out. We call it the out in mechanic. And so the way you know is if I bring up notepad, if she does like an aerial strike, she could do aerial strikes in a bunch of different directions. She could do it like this, um, like horizontally, vertically, diagonally. But essentially, if it's kind of wide like this, if there's no aerial strike in the middle, so it's like a column like this, but then you have like all these arrows, like all these pink arrows kind of going here, then you want to stay in the inside. All your party members want to stay in the inside. If it happens that there's a line on the inside, but then like the whole outside has nothing, then you want to avoid the inside. So this is what we call out, and this is in, because you want to either stay in the inside and stay safe, or you want to be on the outside and stay safe. So it just depends. I think we'll see one of those coming up, but that's what happens if you fail the typing mechanic. But here we're lucky enough that we don't fail. I think here we are bursting it down so fast, I don't even have time to think. Oh, here is actually the aerial strike. So let me back up. So she does do it. So here we see that's a single line. Single line means we want to stay outside. Outside is safe. She does it again. Again, we have like this column in the middle, and then we have the lines on the outside. It means that the inside is safe. So if you're smart, you're going to stay on the inside. Then immediately, she's going to do like a big AoE circle on the inside, and you're going to want to step outside, and then she's going to do an AoE outside, and you're going to move back inside. This next mech, I just shielded because, I should have probably awakened during that arrow strike because I noticed that some of my party members are low. But at this part, we want to group up all the lust pools together so that we get lusted and then we don't get AoE hit. It's important that no one counters there. That way, we all can escape this giant pool of lust here when we get out. So here, we're all lust. We're not able to control our characters, and we just have to wait it out. I think I use my awakening at least once, hopefully, because it's really bad that I'm not using my awakening. This is not how you should be playing. You should just be using your awakening. Some do had to pot right away, but essentially, we hit 100 bars like immediately, and we need to immediately pop our cleansing pool at the 3 o'clock position. So you want to just wait until it's pretty much over, and then you gotta stand here, and we gotta do a stagger check. The mech here is pretty much you stagger, and then everyone has to bring time stops, and you time stop immediately. Otherwise, this is the cheese like the frogs, I guess. The frogs will do like this giant wipe, and if you don't time stop, you essentially die. So after you stagger, everyone needs a time stop, and then you are all safe, nullified from the damage. Here, I think it's a good time to use Blessed Aura and my, Awakening, because we have a little bit of DPS to go before the next mechanic, which is the swamps. So this is the other side, or she doesn't get to do the other side mech, but essentially we're just DPSing until swamp, which is already now. And I just needed to give some more healing to my buddies. So here I have the swiftness pool, and we just wait to do the same swamp mechanic. Hopefully the peanut butter saves us from going in. And then the next mech is at 50 orbs, which is Tentacles. So remember how I said we need to divide up the parties a little bit? We're going to do that pretty soon. But here, just showing the other side mech, she's going to do a flip to the other side. So at this point, my job preparing for the Tentacle mech is just to make sure that my buffs are going to be on, or pop my buffs as soon as I can. What I need to do as a support, I guess, is I'm not, for our static group, I'm typically not tasked to killing the different tentacles. So there's 4 tentacles on the left and the 4 tentacles on the right. So party 2 is going to be is usually on the, you could either be on the left side or the right side. You could determine how you want to divide it up. But one party's on the one side, the other party's on the other. As supports, you're just supposed to have your sleep bombs ready in case anyone calls out that they got too much lust. Because as soon as you hit 100 lust, those characters are going to start hitting you, and you can sleep them to get rid of their lust. So our job is to prepare for sleep bombs, as well as if if we notice that people's lust is getting too high, then we will soak up some of the orbs for them. So here I'm defending no die in case he goes over lust. My job is not to collect the orbs. My job is just to dodge the orbs and just be careful of if some of these different party members get too much lust and I need to sleep them, or if I could, save them by consuming an orb for them, right? Because I have 0. Luckily for our party, you have to kill all the tentacles in order to pass this part. If you miss even one, it's a wipe. So that's why you gotta divide up the parties the way that you do. So luckily we were able to pass. And after this is pretty much just a DPS check. I think there's a spacebar mechanic that comes up pretty soon as well. Um, but here is pretty much just wait till my next awakening is up, and then you hopefully use that. If I don't use it, don't watch the gameplay. Just listen to what I'm saying. Just make sure you awaken off of cooldown. Um, but I think just because we have a whole lot of DPS, it's like I don't even have time really to use my awakening. Just I never feel like I need to. Usually healing is sufficient enough and my damage reduction. So this is spacebar mechanic. I guess that happened at like 30 bars. Essentially what these members need to do is you need to go into these corners. You need to collect the orb, and whoever collects the orb needs to mash their spacebar and hopefully fill the gauge. That's pretty much it. If you don't, I think she does the different AoE attack. It's not a wipe, but it'll definitely fill your lust meter a little bit. But here we're DPSing until the 10 bar line. Here another inside mech, so we're staying safe. Notice how a lot of our members have pretty high lust. Those are from the people who had to collect that red orb and do the spacebar mech. We are now at 10 orbs, so we're just going to collect the cleansing orb. Typically, if you're a damage dealer, you don't want to do it too far, but as a support, I don't really care because I don't really do any damage anyway, so I'm okay with just no lust. You feel your lust meter a little bit if you get hit anyways. Here, I know some of my party members are low, so I just awakening. Since we're in the final stretch, we don't want to mess up at this point. So here, it's purely just stagger, so you want to just save all your stagger abilities. We group up in the middle. Notice on the mini-map, we notice the boss is on the 9 o'clock position, so we're all going to start walking towards the 9 o'clock position. Luckily, we didn't have to face Medusa. Medusa, my job is just to look away and just let the other party members deal with it. Actually, I got baited. Vykas is actually spawned on the 3 o'clock position, so we're all running 3 o'clock. Look away, use way for extra stagger. There's these black kind of puddles that you typically want to step on just so that you avoid the so that you could cleanse your lust. But I totally just ignored that as well. Here another kind of air raid. We had to go outside and then inside, and then this out and in again. As you can see, I messed up kind of that second portion, but the first portion I was able to do. And you're pretty much just using all your stagger abilities until she's dead. So that was pretty much it for Gate 3. I didn't really talk too much about the mechs, didn't do a whole lot about the attack patterns, but as a paladin, I think maybe I should mention at the Medusa mech, the way that our static group kind of has it is party 1 will determine which 2 members will look at her while everyone else looks away, and then if it happens a second time, then the next 2 people in that other party will look at her while everyone else looks away. So my job purely as a support is to just look away. It might be different for how you guys lead your parties, but you guys will want to determine typically like which people in the parties are going to do the looking and which ones are going to look away. But yeah, that was pretty much it. As you can see, we have some pretty big damage dealers in our party, so we were able to DPS it really fast, but they always need support still. So hopefully this little guide helped gates 1 through 3 of Vykas. Maybe I'll do one for Voltan in a bit. I think for Orejas it'll be good for like newer players. I think the reason why I'm kind of making these because I know there's a bunch of newer players who are coming out or coming back, and they might not be familiar with some of the guides or they don't know how to kind of maneuver as a support specifically because I'm a support main. I have Paladin and Bard as my two main classes, so hopefully these guides I guess helped. I didn't have a whole lot of notes for Gate 3, but let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this helped, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the content. Thanks.